In order to appease the software gods, here I am on camera. Now let's start the intro. What's going on, fellow audio engineers and music producers? Before I make a large, in-depth video about what I did with these remixes, I wanted to show you guys an overview and ask if you even want to see that video. I was tasked with remixing my older songs. Let's just listen to the differences between what I did back in 2008 and 2009 versus what I was able to do in the year 2020 with analog equipment being thrown into the mix. No pun intended. So this is Love's a Funny Feeling, a cool little like throwback song, kind of sounds a little jazzy, maybe a little ragtime or whatever from the 1950s and 60s. Check it out. So that's the original mix. By the way, the artist's name is Matt Pless. You can check out his website, mattpless.com. He's also available on Facebook and YouTube as well. All right, now let me play that one more time. So this is right around the time I first started getting into mixing. This was like the second year I was doing serious audio mixing, 2009. And what I'll do is I'll flip back and forth between the two different versions.
Inside your pocket like a pretty prison.
The obvious thing to me is the instruments all come together better in the new mix. They're more present. They sound like there's no blanket over them. Of course, the vocals sound more in your face because it is dry or maybe just a hint of delay. But overall, it doesn't even sound like it was recorded on the same equipment. But yeah, I owe that to the better software that's out there. I owe that to experience, obviously. And I also owe that to the analog equipment. Oh, I should say that this was recorded with a Mackie 1642 VLZ3 mixer going through the direct outs into an M-Audio Delta 1010 audio interface. And the primary microphones that I used back then were Audio-Technica 4040, a Shure SM81, a Shure SM57, Audix drum microphones, specifically the D2, D4, and D6. And the vocals for this song were done on a Shure SM7B, which is also what I'm recording this voiceover with. So, I should show you the difference between the final digital mixdown / master and the one I was able to get with the analog master.
Choose your poison, be it whiskey or wine, and let them buy me time, the reason why you're plaguing my mind.
I think the biggest difference maker, honestly, is I used, if I recall correctly, I definitely used a tape machine. I think I used a Telefunken on everything, including on the mix. I basically made this one the most tape out of all the remixes. But I also used, I believe, the SSL bus compressor clone, and I want to say possibly also the Pultec a tiny bit. But I tried to do my best with plugins on the final version to replicate it, but you know, that hardware, man, it just sounds better. What can I say?
Prima donna, I hope this finds you well with my prima donna. I hope this finds you well with my heart.
This one is called When the Helmets Hit the Ground, again by Matt Pless.
When the helmets hit the ground at the drums of dawn, where the when the helmets hit the ground at the drums of dawn, where the thunder roars as the trumpets sound for the children born by the smoking guns in atomic flames, where the ties all come undone. When the helmets hit the ground, will we place the blame, or will freedom hang from a gallows pole? Freedom hang from a gallows pole, while the house of cards that was built to break down, where cards that was built to break down, where.
Wow. And you know, the funny thing is, back when I first mixed this, and this is all the way going back to 2008, this was actually my best mix that I did, besides Boomerang. So between Boomerang and when the helmets hit the ground, these were the best mixes I was able to get. But again, we're talking about software that was available back then. And again, I'm going to say that I mixed this on these really nice Yamaha HS80M speakers. I think it's HS80 or maybe 80M. Whatever the case is, these speakers were brighter than most of your systems out there. So I didn't have a plugin like ARC or SonarWorks Reference back then. So I basically just had to mix based off of the speakers I was given. This one dates back to 2008 as well. It's called Tomorrow is a Word We'll Never Know. And again, the goal with this one, reducing the reverb or entirely eliminating it from the vocals, and then overall just making the mix sound more modern, clearer. My goal with every mix is I want to hear every word of every lyric and every note of every instrument.
Up and I'll be gone with the blurry break of dawn, just as surely as the robin's song is sung.
I still don't think that sounds like a bad mix, but let's compare it.
Up and I'll be gone with the blurry break of dawn, just as surely as the robin's song is sung. Your reflections in the cracks, but there ain't no looking back, and forever's just a moment that we shared.
Okay, now that was my favorite mix, but this was the final one that the musician Matt Pless chose.
Up and I'll be gone with the blurry break of dawn, just as surely as the robin's song is sung.
Now I actually agree with his pick on this one because he asked me to reduce the acoustic guitar harshness. I also went in and reduced the vocal harshness a little bit as well. So I believe that this final mix, I agree with it being the final one. Okay, on to the final remix that I want to show you guys. This one I actually did last month. It was a last minute addition to the album. And it's called Roman Candle. You're going to be blown away. I know the other remixes were good, but I'm telling you, this one is probably the biggest contrast. Let's play it.
Baby makes me crazy, cynical and lazy, loves me like a daisy that she pulls apart. crazy, cynical and lazy, loves me like a daisy that she pulls apart. Never on the level, flying off the handle, like a Roman candle burning in my heart. Always asking questions, hardly ever listening. In between the kissing, wish your lips stood still. But you keep coming, screaming and debating. Guess I'll keep debating, cause I've had my fill. So try those.
Okay, so listening back to the differences, I actually like the snare drum sound in the original mix. I think I may have sucked out too much of the like 200 hertz range, but overall, you can hear the instruments a lot better, particularly the bass guitar in the remix than in the old mix. Yeah, I think for this one, what I did is I processed it through Mix Analog's ADU. It's a tube processor. It's kind of like that, what's it called? The black box. But anyway, yeah, you can really, really pull some life out of dead instruments. It's really crazy what you're able to do with that processor. And I think that's one of the hidden gems on Mix Analog. I don't think a lot of people use that from what I've been told, but I'm telling you, put some tracks through that thing. I've done vocals, I've done a bass guitar, I've done a whole mix, I've done, again, drum tracks that just need some extra life. Now, it can actually be subtle or it can be very obvious, but either way, the ADU is a really cool little saturation processor, and I recommend everybody out there try it at least once. You know, get a half-hour rental and put some audio through it to make it sound more magical, as it were. So let's look at the rest of the hardware that I used. Of course, my favorite, the API 5500 equalizer. I love API stuff. So I definitely put one of the mixes through it along with drums, of course, and electric guitar. So that's about it, guys. If you would like me to go through some of these mixes so I show you what plugins I used, let me know. Leave me a comment. Otherwise, that's about it for these, and I'll move on to my next project. See ya.
Thanks for watching this RealHomeRecording.com video. You can get monthly audio engineering news and exclusive videos by signing up for our newsletter.